how'd it feel out there your first time? It's a little different the way we do TV than most, you know. So.
Hey man, it felt amazing. You know, it really did. We weren't expecting the vibe to be that intimate and that sort of that good. You know. Which is nothing. No judgment on you, but it's, you know, TV is usually a bit different than a show. We just always treat it like it's a show though. Every time we get in front of a crowd, we just treat it like this is a show, and we don't really think about the cameras. But I had a great time. I had a really good time.
One of the best TV experiences I've ever had.
So this is like your third album in 4 years. Just give us a quick recap of a little bit of history. Like, how did this all start, and why does it keep going?
Well, it's really our fourth, because we met to do his album, which was a solo record called Rap Music, and I produced it. And
he featured on it, and I featured on his solo album, and we toured together. And after the tour, he was doing a mixtape, so I went and visited him and did the mixtape with him. And then
I was just like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing this weird thing. I have a bunch of cool beats, and I'm gonna rap. And he was like, I'll come. I'll rap with you.
We did 6 records. Our friends heard the records and said, "If you guys crazy, if you don't do 4 more records, make the album." And we went out on tour that summer, opened for ourselves. I would go on, he would go on, and then we go on together. And I'd go on and get a good response, he'd go on and get a good response. My fans would say yay, his fans would say yay. And then there was these new kids that were there, that were like with X's on there. They were too young to drink, and they were off in the section, the corner of the club. And they'd sit there and they'd see us perform, you know, our solo stuff, and be like, yeah. And we'd come back out together as Run the Jewels, the same 2 guys, and these kids would literally go crazy. And by the end of that tour, when our management said,
we'd be wearing the same thing.
Yes, same clothes. Yeah. But by the end of the tour, I remember my management called and said, "Oh, well, you know, what are we going to do? Get back to solo stuff?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'm in a rap group now."
Yeah.
And it's called Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
And we did Run the Jewels 2, and it came out, and people like, magazines like Pitchfork or sites like Pitchfork rated us high. Our shows got more intense and wilder, and it just you'd be crazy not to keep doing it. So
we just
not crazy.
Yeah, we you know, we've been doing music for a long time. We've done a lot of different things. We've done our solo stuff. We've done, you know, we've been down with other sort of collectives and different things. And when you bump into something that is joyful, to, you know, not only to make but to perform, and the response and the energy that you get back is so overwhelming. It's really inspiring, you know, and that's all. It's like we shifted from it being just a sort of a quick little project that we were doing with no expectation to something that we pour our hearts into, and something that we have made our primary outlet for expression. And that's been the growth process. And so because of that, the records have changed, and the records have gotten a little bit sort of fuller, I think, and with our hearts and our ideas. Whereas it sort of started as just a fun thing that we thought was going to last about as long as it took to record the lyrics, which was 2 weeks, and so, you know, it keeps going because we have been around the block, and we know not to look a gift horse in the mouth. But when life hands you something that has those elements, you know, happiness is involved, you know, and that's kind of what we've been chasing all our lives. And so it's been really rewarding, and you know, we're so far away from the idea of it not being what we do. Now I can't even imagine it not being.
I'm one half
of
Run the Jewels. Like
Yeah.
that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know a good thing when you see it and when you feel it.
Yeah.
And especially when you feel something. I mean, there's a chemistry going on here, and an energy. Like you said, where does this energy come from when you step out on a stage night after night after night?
I'm out there with my friend. You know, even our DJ, like we're friends. You know what I mean? Like we're literally friends. It's what you imagine in 5th grade. You know, you get in 5th grade as a little boy, you have those thoughts, I'm going to be a ninja and a fireman and a rapper, you know what I mean? It is the closest thing in my adulthood I felt to that exuberation. It is pure, it is real. And so anytime I'm on stage, you know, with him, it is joy, because I'm doing what I imagine doing sitting at a desk daydreaming in 5th grade.
It really is. And that's something that I think we both came together in a time in our lives where we were really open to appreciating it even in the moment. And so when we get up on stage, we're often looking at each other kind of amazed that it's happening the way it is. Even you know, 3 albums in, we're experiencing things up there together that it would be an insult to the universe for us not to give everything that we had in our chorus to this thing, you know?
So there's that energy between you guys and with your DJ, but there's the energy with the house, with the fans out there. You can't just create that or calculate that sort of thing. It's just got to happen somehow. It's magic, right?
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I don't know how, why. I just appreciate it, and we reciprocate it. You know, I know they give it, we give it, and it's an exchange. It really is an exchange. And you know,
Mike was the guy who started referring to them as the
Jewel
you know, the other member of the group.
are.
You know, and I really liked the way that he phrased that, because it was something that I felt as well, but he vocalized it. And that's what it's been for us with Run the Jewels. It's been this amazing connection, and you know, we go away and we make these albums together as friends, and then we come out and then we get to go party with our other friends that we, you know, and it's amazing.
Drives down security crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of those albums, this new album, it's a celebration of that friendship, but it's also kind of a call to arms. A little different in tone from the other ones, and a lot of it has to do with this, shall we say, this political climate. That,
Yeah, but
we're
not
in
a
today.
call to arms in the physical, but in terms
For
of
here, yeah, this is the
exactly.
call to arms. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's you know, we've reached, you know, a crux in this nation and globally, where we can all let fear and individualism and selfishness keep us in our individual houses, in our individual states and nations, and not recognizing ourselves as a part of the bigger humanity. And that's only going to lead to more war, pestilence, and violence. Or we can challenge the different oligarchies that rule this globe, whether it's communism, capitalism, whether it's dictatorship or free republics, whatever you choose to call it. What I know is everywhere we travel in the world, nationhood seems to stand above humanity, and that's upside down. And we try our best to remind people through our music that recognizing other people's humanity and love and compassion essentially are going to be the way. And sometimes that takes punching you in the face to make you realize that, and we're not afraid to say that part too. But you know, ultimately, what we want to do is less than a political agenda, but push the social agenda of, you know, loving your fellow human being.
And we make albums that we hope are not just, you know, people take away different things from the records, and I think there was a pervasive feeling from this new record. We call it our blue record. It's our blue phase. And you know, but we try and just make records that are the full spectrum of our human experience and all of our foibles and our silliness and all of our jokes and humor with each other. But there are, because of our friendship and the way that it's evolved, there have come moments where we've had these sort of dual epiphanous sort of, you know, things come out of us where we're able to really, you know, talk to our hearts as well. And we don't see any disparate, you know, sort of, you know, divide between us being the you know, the friends who like to hang out and kick it and joke and aren't taking everything so seriously, and saying something that really means something to you. And I think that maybe if you get that right, then you can really feel it on the other end, you know? I don't want to really have a conversation with a guy who's never done drugs about about how shitty it is to do drugs, you know? I want to talk to the guy who I've seen doing drugs, who doesn't do it anymore, you know? But, you know, so we're not here making a political statement as much as we're making a human statement. We made this record during a period of time in which the world really was tumultuous and it was affecting us, and you can hear it in the music. And there are periods throughout this record where you can almost tell, like, oh, it was hitting the fan pretty hard in this time, and then we come out of it, and it's back to fun again. So that's the way our life has been.
People need to love, but they also need to laugh, and so there's a lot of that in your live show too, and the chemistry that you bring to it every night. So, well, my last question is: so, what's the symbolism or the meaning behind the point in the fist?
Well, it used to just mean some badassery, because
It was just like a sign language, almost Run the Jewels. You know, the original thing was.
Run the Jewels when we were kids meant you're getting robbed. Like, run your sneakers, kid. You know what I mean? And it was a badass statement that a guy we looked up to in Cool J used. It was an old saying. But since then, we've seen this sign thrown up, and this is no BS. After marathons, on top of mountains, after climbs, weddings,
births,
deaths, bar mitzvahs, deaths. And what we came to realize is that this symbol means everything that our other member of the group, the audience, has given us with their energy back. It means that you're the jewel, that you can take your life in your own hands, that you can accomplish anything, that no one controls that. And I want to thank them, you know, for giving us that, you know, for inspiring us to push through. You know, it really has meant a lot being in this relationship with our fans and seeing this little thing that we thought would be cool turning to a bigger thing.
And come back and reflect.
Absolutely.
And you can actually trace it in the artwork. You know, the first 2 records, there was a chain in the hand. And when we got to this record, we had experienced so much of that coming back to us, that, and we were thinking about the evolution of what we were doing musically, and the idea that there was no chain anymore felt like a really good, evolvement, because what he said, the jewel is you. There is nothing else exterior outside of yourself that you need to be controlling or gaining. It's here, and we like the idea that people throwing this up as a symbol of internal love and pride, and
I never forget, we did, after the first one, we did a interview in Atlanta, and we were in the back of a little restaurant. It was the second one. It was that Rolling Stone interview where they interviewed us when we did video the ambulance drivers. But we were walking out, so there's this family, a mom and a dad and this black kid who had to be about 16, 17 years old. I didn't think the kid knew who in the heck we were. And we were walking out of the restaurant, and as we were walking out, we heard, hey, and he turns around, and he says, when I saw that, to a kid, I just knew that, oh, this thing is going to be bigger and different this time, because he's taking it like I took the Wu-Tang symbol as a kid, and I just took it wherever I wanted it to go. So I'm just appreciative that our fans have taught us more than we have ever expected to learn.
Well, it's a very cool thing, and y'all are very cool, and thanks for bringing it to Austin City.
Thanks for having us,
Thanks for having us.
It's been an honor.